Welcome, everybody. We are back coming to you live from the Eagles Beachwear Stock Room. It's the Ryno and Kurt Show coming to you with some hard-hitting issues this week. We got some Ukraine action going on. We got Zion Williamson, is he a bust? We got this week's White People Trend. We got some Kyrie Irving. And we got some scientific facts about COVID-19 coming on. Ryno, what's up, man? Welcome back. What's happening?
Glad you made it back, Kurt. You made it back. A lot of people, you might have started a war with you leaving last week. You messed around and missed. You was on vacation. Come back. There's a potential World War III going on. So hopefully not. I've already noticed. A lot of you are fussing about the pump. Paying daggum near $4. I'm kind of pissed off. Little Debbie then went to the king size and all the gas stations, and you got to pay $2 for $3 for the big honey bun and the big Star Crunch. I don't ever want a big Star Crunch. So things are changing. I don't know a lot about it. Everybody seems to have an opinion. Like they seem to know what they're talking about, whether Putin's good or we should get behind Ukraine. You never know what's going on over there. Definitely don't want a war. Don't want to be involved in such a thing, but I don't know, man. What's your take? What have you looked at? What have you seen? What do you think about this Russian and Ukraine battle royale?
Yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily know a lot about it too much either, but I guess their president is kind of the star of this right now. He's got his machine gun and ready to go. He says he doesn't need a ride home. He needs some ammo. So, looks like everybody's ready to fight over there. My biggest takeaway from it is, look at those guys, man. Those guys look like they're in good shape. They don't have an 80-year-old president like us. Yeah, man, they look like a bunch of jacked up Roy Kents over there, man, looking like they about to take Liam Neeson's daughter, man. I don't want to mess up any of those people over there. They look ready to go.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, man. It's
that was probably the wrong nationalities also. That's it. Sorry. If that was the wrong nationalities, I just did, which was probably true. So anyway.
But the thing about it is like the Klitschko brothers, both boxing champions, and like you said, the president. It's noble to stand out there and fight with your machine gun. And it's great. It's going to be a great Netflix story when both of them are dead in about 3 days. I mean, there isn't, unless you got some superpowers, or, some super weapons, it's going to end badly. You standing in the street with a machine gun when guys are eventually, they're going to be dropping them bomb busters that leave a hole like 300 feet wide and 300 feet deep or something. So good for you, Mother Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. But you probably just need to get on your private jet and get the hell out of Ukraine. I know nobody wants to hear that, but anyway, we'll see. We'll keep our hand on the pulse of that. Hopefully it doesn't affect us more than economically. We're already in an economic cycle now where gas and meat and everything, the supply chain, vehicles, trucks are going for 80 and 90,000. 2007s are going for 35,000. It's a crazy world we're in now where hopefully we get out of it. So we're here to give you a little sports topics to change it up, maybe get your mind off of the world issues. I'll throw it out there first just because it's coming to an end. Coach K, Duke, that's personal to you. One more week and Duke will play his last home game at Cameron Indoor, the house that Coach K built. And from what it sounds like, that's a hard ticket to get. I think you texted me and told me a fella paid $80,000 for a ticket to watch Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor. So I'm gonna ask you, hardcore Duke fan, seen some championships, seen them at Sheshetskyville in person. Me and you went to Greenville 5 years ago. 5 years ago this month, or next month, or the Gamecocks upset Duke when they had that Final Four run. So you've seen them in action. Bottom line dollar, if they was playing at Colonial Life Arena, let's make it easy for you. You ain't got to drive far. They playing Colonial Life Arena against, let's say, Gonzaga for the 2022 National Championship. how much you coming off the pocket? Like, how much would you pay? Like, you look at your budget, you look at your money, you don't have kids, a lot of bills, but you still don't want to go stupid and just throw away a bunch of money. What's the max amount you could go to Mayplant and get out, hand them through the window, and you walk up and hand somebody for a ticket to the Coach K Farewell National Championship? We'll go even further than North Carolina. We'll go to the National Championship. How much you paying?
I don't think I'd go over $2,000, man. Like even the Duke North Carolina game, Coach K's last game in Cameron versus North Carolina. The cheapest ticket on StubHub and Vivid is $3,000, and like you said, the highest is about $80,000. So, but if you were on board, man, you wanted to ride, I'd drop $2,000. We hop in the car. I'm not paying your $2,000, but I'm not going by myself either. So I go $2,000. So let's go, man.
You might have to recruit a friend on that one. You might have to recruit Drew, somebody who's got some personal. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be cool to see, but I can't tell no story to my grandkids about watching Duke win a national championship. So, yeah, $2,000, that seems reasonable. I was thinking about what I would spend money to see. Of course, we were there for 2 of the games when South Carolina made that run to the Final Four. Hadn't been much more basketball history for South Carolina other than that. The 2 national championships in Omaha, that's pretty cool. I don't think I'd pay a lot of money because the tickets wouldn't be a lot of money. And in football, I've seen most of everything. I've seen most of their big games. I missed a few here and there, but there hadn't been a national championship. There hadn't been an SEC championship. So I don't know. I think the older I get now, I would pay less. I think 15, 20 years ago, I'd have paid a lot of money maybe to see a big game like that. But South Carolina's terrible at most everything right now. So you could probably get $40 to see just about anything.
You pretty much got to see the greatest win in South Carolina basketball history. So.
Yeah, I mean that was the springboard to that Final Four run. So that was a good weekend. Matter of fact, five years ago, that was great.
Long ride home for me that Sunday night.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate long ride for Kirby. Who you never think South Carolina's gonna be the team to beat Duke. Speaking of Duke, though, we're gonna keep it on to Duke. We got a couple topics on Duke. Zion Williamson. Are you ready to give him the bust moniker? I mean, coming out, he was going to be the next big thing, and I was surprised. And I feel like have the NIL deals been in play when he was at Duke, he probably made $100 million at Duke. Just because he was the biggest thing, throwing down dunks, he could shoot, bigger than life, and he hadn't been able to stay healthy. He got drafted by the Pelicans. They made a bunch of moves. He's been down there, been through 2 or 3 coaches. He hurt his foot and had surgery, and he's coming back, and now he's had to have another surgery. And, he's always been kind of chubby anyway, and now they're saying he's fat, which I don't think the weight's a problem. He handles the weight. It may be a problem in his 30s, but are we going to put the label bust on him right now? Or is there still potential? What's your take on Zion, another Duke guy, one and doneer who's kind of struggling right now?
Yeah. Zion's 1 year at Duke. I saw him live 3 times. One of those times with you. And I mean, he's a force, man. He's a beast. And I mean, I don't think the weight's an issue either. I mean, James Harden loses 20 pounds in a week, pretty much anytime he's between teams. I think I don't know that he's a bust because he looked good last year. Averaged like 27 points. I think health is involved, and I think we're going to have to go through this whole thing that we go through with these young players now. Like we just went through with Ben Simmons, where that's not where they want to be, so they're going to hold out. And it's said he wants to play in New York. I don't know why people want to play in New York because
I don't either.
They haven't won anything since we've been alive, man. They've maybe gone to the finals once since we've been alive. So, I mean, I don't know why he wants to go under the microscope there and get judged for everything. But I'm not going to say he's a bust yet. But, I mean, out of the 3 years, he had one good year. They babied him that first year.
Right.
So I don't expect him to be there next year. And trouble with the brotherhood, man. JJ Redick called him out this week, said he was a detached teammate when he played with him, said he called him out on it then. So that's an unusual thing to have the Duke guys going off on each other. Maybe JJ Redick's going to be a different type of analyst here at ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, though. I mean, if you're gonna call it like you see it, he is kind of that way, and he's been detached from the team, though. So I don't know if it's his fault. I mean, when you're not playing and you're not there, it's kind of weird. It's a kind of weird feeling like you're not part of that team. Like, they made a trade for CJ McCollum, and he didn't send out a welcome tweet, but he's not really the captain. You think he should be the captain? He should be the face, but he hadn't played a lot, so. It's interesting to see. Yeah, moving to New York, you catching hell with the Shreveport Times. I can't imagine what you go catch with the New York Post and the Times and you're going to be in the center. They're not very good. You're often injured. Man, go to Charlotte or somewhere, man. Go somewhere where they're going to love you regardless. They still might give you hell, but it won't be like New York. Like you said, you under the microscope, man. They'll boo anybody and run anybody out of town. So
Charlotte would be a good fit for him.
I think it would be too. Problem is, he might end up like Sean May, end up being about 335 and not being able to get him down the court. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's move on to another Duke guy. It sounds like we need to move on up to Raleigh, Durham, or someone have this show. Kyrie Irving. Now that the ban will be lifted, Kyrie Irving's held out against the machine. He wasn't going to get the shot, and he couldn't play home games, couldn't play on certain road games. Now they made a trade. They got Ben Simmons in there. Now Kevin Durant, I think, is coming back next week. Ben Simmons, who knows when he's coming back? That guy's weak as puppy piss. I don't really think much of him at all, but they really don't need him to do much. He can be a bench player. But Kyrie has kind of won his battle, his stance on the vaccination. So what you think now with that team? What you think about the dynamic with those three plus what they have?
It's looking like it's going to come together for them. I think they're going to, playoffs are coming up pretty shortly. You get Kyrie. I personally, my take on Kyrie is Kyrie was vaccinated. He just used that because he didn't want to play. That guy don't want to play. That guy's not going to play a whole year, no matter what. And getting back to what you talk about, busts. I mean, that's what we got to talk about, busts these times. Like, who's a bust? It's like, to me, a bust is somebody that's going to miss 30 games every year, no matter how great you are. So, I mean, looks like they're going to come together here and make a run, I think. And I like the Andre Drummond, Seth Curry pickups, man, and Rodgers. I think they got some good pieces and role players to go along. So if one of those guys is out, I don't think they'll miss a beat. So I mean, as long as they get the defense going, Ben Simmons, good defender. So yeah, I mean, we'll see.
He's good for 20 minutes to handle the ball. He can dish to KD, like you said, the other little role players they got. He can handle the ball. He can go to the rack. I mean, he can get points. He just can't shoot the basketball. He can't shoot from the perimeter. But he's big, he's long, he's rangy. So you putting long arms on the defender, you can lock somebody down, maybe slow down, Drew Holiday from the Bucks, or maybe maybe the Heat, whoever the contenders will be. He can put them long arms out there and at least give some defense, handle the basketball, and then distribute. He's not going to hurt you like Russell Westbrook will by missing 25 shots in a basketball game. I guess this first part is just going to be a bunch of basketball talking. That's fine. I'm going to get it out of the way. I got a kind of a problem here with like a guy like Charles Oakley. He's getting a lot of camera time now because he's got a book out. He's the one that James Dolan pretty much banned from Madison Square Garden, kicked out. He didn't like things that Oakley had said about James Dolan. He's made it clear. And then the more you put a microphone in people's faces, the more they talk and the more they say, and the more they sound like a fool. And he sounds like a fool to me in certain aspects. This toughness thing, like thinking guys couldn't play in the league in the 80s because they're not tough enough, is asinine. Now, don't get me wrong, LeBron's a whiner, but a lot of the stuff we see now is a product of the system that we allow touch fouls. The guys are making more money than they ever have, so they're prima donnas. They're allowed to do the load management because the Raptors won and the Spurs won doing that practice. But for Charles Oakley to say Giannis Antetokounmpo couldn't play in the league, he wouldn't start in that league, Are you crazy to say, the guy's 6'11", 285 and cut? He can play in the league. He's better than Robert Parrish is. He's better than Kurt Rambis is. He's better than, talk about toughness. Is Michael Cooper scared of anybody? Has anybody ever feel for a Greg Kite? I'm just using those two teams that we talk about, the Lakers and Celtics in the 80s era. But I don't think nobody was scared of Dr. J. He wasn't walking around with a left hook about to knock anybody out. I think we over glamorize guys who were willing to throw a punch. I take Andre Drummond to beat the hell out of Bill Laimbeer every day. Every day. I'd put $100 a day, every single day. We talk like Bill Laimbeer's tough and Kevin McHale's tough. Give me Andre Drummond. I watched him play last night and I was thinking, man, who wants to body up on that guy? If Dwight Howard had any kind of anger in him, he'd take out the whole 80s crew. He'd take out Mahorn, Sally, any of them guys. So anyway, it's always some throwback take on that about guys not being tough. What's your take? I think guys now are bigger, stronger, more physical. They don't fight like that because there's a punishment on the back end. Back in the day, you just pretty much got a foul for taking somebody out. Now you get ejected. It costs you money. These guys are friends. It's not that rivalry. Nobody's doing the flying burrito on a layup anymore. But what's your take on era to era? I think, LeBron would be just as good.
I think it's basically on like what you said, what's allowed now. Like, I don't think all this sitting out and like the Ben Simmons stuff, the Kyrie stuff, that stuff wouldn't have happened 30 years ago on these teams with Bird and Isaiah Thomas and Magic and Bird and Jordan. I think it's just what's allowed now. I mean, yeah, they're athletes, man. I mean, yeah, Giannis. I mean, there was nobody like him back then. So, I mean, the way they train and condition their bodies now is a lot different than back then. But yeah, definitely maybe the drive and toughness is not what it used to be compared to those guys. But yeah, the talent is, yeah, like you said, Greg Kite and John Concact and all those guys were in the league. So
it's foolish to believe that like there was just so much toughness back then. Like I said, Byron Scott, you scared of him? You think Blake Griffin wouldn't knock his lights out one time if it came down to it? I think we give him a pass because there were some hard fouls. Guys definitely weren't as good. But that'll take me back to some old talk. Isaiah Thomas, they keep putting a microphone in his face. And he made some valid points I think we overlook. That Jordan wasn't anything in the 80s. Jordan couldn't beat Magic. He couldn't beat Bird. And he finally beat a old Detroit team. So I think that's something we forget about. Our generation and older hold Jordan as the GOAT. We got to remember there's like 6 seasons in there. He wasn't no good, or he wasn't what Jordan is. He had 6 good seasons where he won a championship, but he's got like a 14-year career. So there's 8 seasons where he wasn't. And I'm not getting into a GOAT debate, but like, guys like LeBron was good from the get-go. Was taking Boobie Gibsons and DeJuan Wagner's and Ilgauskas to the finals. So it's an interesting era when we choose. Jordan was getting beat down, was getting beat down by Bird, Magic, and Isaiah for a while there.
I think also a lot of it too, though, is those teams eventually, got older, but Jordan didn't have a team. Those were teams, man. Those Celtics teams, those Lakers teams, those Piston teams. I mean, those were teams. It wasn't just Bird, Magic, or Isaiah, in my opinion. Those were stacked teams, man. They had bench players. Jordan just didn't have that at that time. So yeah, he eventually had to overcome those teams and get pieces around him.
And like on The Last Dance, he hit the weight room. He put on weight. They couldn't push him around anymore. He was kind of frail. He was kind of thin, 6'6", frail frame, and he came out and got bigger and tougher. All right, that's all the NBA we're gonna talk about. Move over a sport. I know you get to see this on your shows in the afternoon. The key talk all day, every day is about Aaron Rodgers. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is the puzzle piece that's going to change this next season's NFL. If he leaves, it's going to make a lot of pieces move. If he stays, then a lot of people have to grasp somewhere else. So what's your take on Aaron Rodgers overall? I think it came out that he wants $50 million. I don't think he's worthy of that. You just had home field advantage to the playoffs and he didn't even make it to the Super Bowl. I'm not paying him $50 million. I think he needs to get out of Green Bay. We thought home field advantage and the frozen tundra was an advantage, but obviously they got whitewashed by the 49ers and look kind of bad. So what's your take on like Aaron Rodgers and the future of this free agency coming up?
To be honest with you, he seems to be a little bit of a head case, kind of in a Kyrie type of way, but he actually does seem to want to play. But personally, and I'm not the football guy you are, but I would say, I mean, they had the best record last year, right? Am I wrong?
Right.
I mean, I don't know, man. I would think you keep that going as long as you can if it was me, but
well, the problem with the NFL salary cap is you only got a certain amount of money, and if 50 million of it goes to one player, you know, they're already lacking on defense a little bit. Devontae Adams is they're going to franchise tag him. They restructured a couple of guys' deals, but like you can't make $1 more than Tom Brady if you ain't good as Tom Brady. You know, you hold a high value of himself. He does. I'm not having him on my team. You didn't win with us. You didn't win this past year, and you hadn't talked to your mom in a decade. Any guy who ain't talked to his mom in a decade, he ain't on my team. Obviously, like you said, as a head case, something's wrong with that guy. He can't.
Yeah, he's kind of brought it on himself. He's going to be like this TMZ type of story. No matter who he goes, you know, whoever he's dating, it's out there for everybody. And he's just not seen in the way Brady was.
And they tried to get rid of him. They tried to push him out by drafting Jordan Love, obviously, but they unfortunately drafted Jordan Love from Utah State, who's not an NFL quarterback. Had they drafted a guy like Mac Jones, they could just let him go. Or if they drafted a Tua Tagovailoa, a guy who maybe could run the offense, they drafted a guy from Utah State. That's on them. They tried to get rid of him. That was the move in progress, kind of like when they drafted Aaron Rodgers to get rid of Brett Favre. It was kind of like a foreshadowing thing. But Jordan Love sucks. You can't draft a guy from Utah State and think you're going to change the game here. So anyway, I think once Aaron Rodgers decides what's going to happen, and on the Pat McAfee show, I think he said it's going to happen this week. So once he decides what he's doing, we'll see what these other guys like Kyrie, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and then a lot of these other free agents go from there. I think that's going to be all the NFL we talk about here.
I'm going to go white people trends of this week.
Yeah, you got one you've had in your holster. It's getting rusty. So come on out with it. Something you observed and you can't understand, and I can't either. I'm with you.
I said, like we say with these white people trends, this is just things we noticed and kind of wonder like where they came from. Like, why is this the hot thing all of a sudden? Why is everybody wearing them? So one thing we've discussed, which I think once I brought to your attention, you discovered it more. If you look down at people's feet these days, they have on these shoes with a little cushioning on them, and they're called On Running or On Cloud Running. They're about $160.
Yep.
You don't necessarily see them on the athletes. It's kind of the go-to sneaker, athletic sneaker for white people right now. $160. I looked it up. It's a Swedish company. Roger Federer is a investor in it. They actually have a casual shoe called the Rodger.
That sounds casual.
I asked our boy Kenny Hidley. He's a runner, runs more than anybody I know. He said he's never actually seen anybody running them. So just wondering where this comes from. If anybody out there wants to comment or let us know, and I'm sure they're comfortable. They got little bubbles on the bottom, so I mean, it looks like a comfortable shoe, but definitely the rage all of a sudden for the go-to white person tennis shoe.
There's a pair by my front door or by my back door. And it was, like you said, as a fad that must have, super comfortable. But my thing is like, if you're wearing New Balance or Nike or Puma or whatever you wear, whatever your preferred, you know, that you can get for $60 and you're comfortable and mentally you never think, man, these aren't comfortable. You know, if your feet are hurt or you got plantar fasciitis or something, I can see maybe, yeah, I need to switch up my shoe, but you're going up. you going up a pay grade. You're going up extra $100 bill for a pair of shoes you don't run in or you just walk around at work in. It's a phenomenon I still have yet to figure out. I haven't figured out the marketing to where you can make white people buy anything. You can turn anything into a fad.
I don't even see marketing for it. That's what's
I know.
That's
it's a word of mouth thing somehow.
The mystery of it. It's just like the growth of a brand out of nowhere. That's like same price range as your Nikes and everything else. So
it must be on the flyer.
Good for them. Yeah. Somebody wants, if On wants to send me a pair, man. Come on, I'll wear them. I'll give a review on the show.
Yeah, that's what we need to start, man. Any of you guys out there got anything you want to market, give away for free? Food, clothes, shoes, electronics. Anybody hears the show wants a free plug, we'll do it. We'll do a show around
a barbecue sandwich. We'll take that too.
A barbecue sandwich would be great. Also appreciate the reviews. Me and Kurt have seen a few reviews on the iTunes page, 5-star rating. Appreciate that. Let us know that you're listening. It's kind of hard to gauge. They don't really give you a lot of analytics of who's listening and how many. It's just, until iTunes or Spotify sees that there's a lot of downloads, there's not a lot of way to figure out how many people are listening, but we have seen the positive reviews. So appreciate that going forward. Let us know that you're listening.
Yeah, we've had a few people say we need to do this more than once a week. So y'all want us to do this more than once a week. We'll do it 3 times a day. Y'all hit like, subscribe, tell your friends, get them to like, subscribe. We'll gladly retire and do this full time 3 times a day, as much as you want to, but we got to have the people out there doing it. So obviously we can't do this every day. So
yeah, we can't do it, but it's fun to shoot the bull. But yeah, like you say, you give us some barbecue sandwiches, some shoes out the deal. Maybe send us a case of some new sports drinks or something that's in the market. We'll give them a review. Kurt, let's break away from the sports real quick, man. I think you got some scientific evidence about this COVID-19 before we get back into some Netflix and TV shows.
Yeah, we generally try to stay out of controversial subjects such as COVID-19 because everybody has their own opinions and facts and everything else about it. And I saw one fact that I had to agree with, and Ryno agreed with too. And we're probably about to give ourselves COVID this week by talking about this. But I saw a headline that said more attractive people might have stronger COVID immunity, studies suggest. And I have to agree with it because 2 guys you're looking at right here have not gotten it yet. Knock on wood. And I always kind of wondered why, because we're out and about. I'm all over the place. You're all over the place. And this is obviously why.
Yeah, there's no other reason, no explanation than being good looking, man. I think our good looks fight off the COVID-19 virus, and I'll stick with that. I think that's a great explanation.
Yeah, you're looking at the bald Jason Momoa and the bearded Ryan Gosling right now, right here. So
what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. And like you said, if we don't have a show next week, we post up, we locked up with COVID-19, we actually ruined our luck. But as long as
if I don't make it next week, this was my downfall.
Yeah. But I appreciate giving us the confidence as to why we do not have the COVID-19 virus. All right, that's the end of the science portion. What you watching, Kurt? What you been downloading? What you been streaming on the Netflix, the Hulu, HBO Max? What's up? What's the most recent? What you watching?
We're both watching The Righteous Gemstones, right. And I think we'll both agree that's great. I think the finale comes on tonight, I believe. Yeah. Man, if y'all aren't watching that, man, that's if you're not easily offended, it's the funniest show on TV.
By far.
And I've been watching Pam and Tommy on Hulu, and I'm kind of ready for it to wrap up. It's good performances, but I don't know how much longer you're going to drag it out.
Let's break this down, man. Pretty much this whole story, we all knew about it. It's a 20 years old or whatever it is. But I think the premise was how it happened, porno shot, distribution. That's it. I mean, we got a talking donger, some fake boobs, and a porno movie, and then the stealing of the movie and the selling of the movie. That's it. That's it. Seth Rogen doing whatever. I think it ended for me when the donger was talking. I mean, that's it. Then you got to talk and wiener, I'm out. I mean, that was it for me. But I don't think we need to go through the trial and the prosecution. Nobody cares what happened. I don't care what happened. I don't care if the guy got $1 billion or he got locked up. The process was in the movie making itself. So I agree with you. Wrap that up, man, and don't try to make this thing into a season 2. It's over. Nobody cares about their life. Either one of them. They're has-beens. Continue on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, but I just don't think there's any more substance to the Tommy and Pam.
Yeah, like I said, I like it. It's well done. I'm just ready for it to wrap up. And I watched Inventing Anna and The Tender Swindler, the stories of all the people shamming everybody out there.
Yes, it's pretty amazing that you can come in there with an English accent or whatever European accent and claim to be an heiress and somehow dupe everybody in a city to where you live the largest. And it wouldn't have happened that way with me. The first time you order $4,000 at a restaurant and in your card, you're gonna be washing dishes if it's up to me. I'm not bailing you out. Like I'll buy Kurt. We can go to Little Pigs down the road here. I'll buy you a barbecue plate. I might even pay for the hotel at the Duke North Carolina game. But you start getting into thousands of dollars and all this nonsense. That's a big red flag. But she fooled everybody. She fooled the investment corporations, the banks, had cash money, leaving $100 tips for everybody. So she played the role in making everybody believe that she was an heiress and had plenty of money. It's crazy how it all went down. The only thing that kind of throws me off is the beginning of every episode said everything is true except what's not. So we don't know where the gray area is on what was fabricated or not, but still interesting story. Definitely had my interest through that whole season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that was pulled off on either one of those. It's kind of hard to believe, but
yeah, that Tender Swindler.
It's probably going to encourage more of it.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the crazy thing, man. There's people all over the world right here. You see it on these stupid dating shows where people get on these apps from a guy from like Kenya who's only, got a shack in a water buffalo. And next thing you know, a woman's sending him like $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 to live and wonder why they got duped. The whole catfish phenomenon. I don't know if it's going to encourage it. I think it might just push it on further. The Tender Swindler guy is private jets, helicopters, gold watches. And obviously he was taking a bunch of money and swindling these people out to afford this, to fool this person. And then, the girl ends up taking $250,000 out in loans to keep him alive. And he's working 2 or 3 at the same time. It's crazy, man. I mean, people dumb. I mean, I could see if it was somebody, was a family member or something and they really needed money, but you going on the hook for $250,000 for a guy you've only met a couple times, really. He had a good rap though. He did good. He did a good job of fooling everybody.
Yeah, definitely good watches, man. My parents even enjoyed the Tender Swindler. My dad found it hilarious.
That's funny that your dad, and I appreciate your dad also. I hope he enjoys the episodes going forward of this show as well. That gets us down towards the end of the show. Speaking of Russia and Ukraine, I got a little ranking system for you. I want you to rank the Ivans 1 through 4. You got, of course, Ivan Koloff, who's in my background right here. You got Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. You got Ivan Lendl, the tennis player. And you got Ivan Rodriguez, the Mexican baseball player. So who's your top 4 Ivans? If you had to rank them 1 through 4, how are you ranking them?
I'm gonna go Drago first.
I knew it. I knew it.
It's a tough one between, and of course, second it's gonna be Koloff. And to be honest with you, the other two, I'll go Lindell and Rodriguez. I don't really care too much about either one, but yeah, the first two, I'm gonna go Drago, man. I'm gonna
I
go.
figured you would. I figured you would, and I may would too. I mean, that was a. I'm not big on the other Rockies. I just didn't care for them as much. But 4, I loved. I thought that was a great. The whole thing was great. You know, Apollo going down, Rocky stepping up, and then the whole Russian. Plus, you know, back when we were that age, Russia was a bad guy, so it was kind of, you know, we want to overthrow the what is now Vladimir Putin, but the Gorbachev era of when we grew up. So yeah, I'd probably go. I'm gonna go Koloff just because that's my dude. But Drago's right there with him, and I don't really give a damn about the other two. Pudge Rodriguez is a sissy, and Ivan Lendl's a tennis player. So I don't know. It looks like that about wraps us up. The only other thing I'm gonna throw out there is we always try to do a Mount Rushmore. This week, and I didn't even throw this out there to you, but you're pretty good with this. This week, The Undertaker was inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's been around forever and ever. And who would have thought that stupid, you know, standing in the darkness, the urn with Paul Bearer, with the long trench coat and the hat, sitting back up after the dead man. He makes the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of good, great guys getting in the Hall of Fame from our younger years. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Your Mount Rushmore. Give me your top 4 wrestlers. We hadn't talked about this in a while. We hadn't talked just off the top of your head. I know
single wrestlers.
Well, tag teams count as one. So if you want to throw a tag team up there, I know our boy Kenny, he big time into discussing wrestling. We got to get him on the show as well, maybe to talk about this. But just to finish it up with the Mount Rushmore, I really didn't have anything going on. We hadn't really talked about a lot of things. There's nothing going on right now. But yeah, just off the top of your head, if you was throwing down 4, any order, top 4 all time.
I'm going Rock and Roll Express.
Right.
Midnight Express.
Wow.
Road Warriors. And Arn Anderson.
I like that. I can see. I didn't think the Midnight Express. I think you buttoned up the Kenny too much on that. I can't give you.
You sprung it too quick on me, man. I didn't have time to prep for this.
I agree.
That's what I'm going with.
That's a good one. I'm definitely going Rock and Roll Express. That's our dudes.
Ricky Morton, friend of the show.
Friend of the show and a past Zoom member of
pilot episode.
A pay-per-view, a pay-per-interview that he charged us. But anyway, that was cool. Yeah, some insightfulness. I'm gonna go with Rock and Roll and Road Warriors were two that just had to be. The Russians were my favorite. Obviously, Ivan Koloff, it's my email address. I love something about the Russians as well. It was, it wasn't a superpower kind of thing. It was funny that both those dudes are from around here. Like Ivan was from like Asheville, North Carolina, but had that scruffy Russian accent. And then I think Nikita's from around here somewhere too. So 3 of mine are pretty much tag teams. And then, I wasn't a Ric Flair guy. He was a bad guy back then. I had to say Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes cut the best promos there ever was, talking about the working man, the country man, the people's champ. I liked the Arn Anderson. I liked all the Horsemen except for, I take that back. I hated Barry Windham. And I like Ric Flair after the fact. So, yeah, interesting. We'll probably deep dive some more into some certain time periods of wrestling, certain pay-per-views we watch, like the scaffold matches, break down some stuff, when it gets thin, because if baseball doesn't lock out, we're not going to have any sports here through the summer. There's really going to be not a lot to talk about. Hopefully those guys, I think they're going to get together today and try to nail down a new collective bargaining agreement so we don't lose out on all that money. But anyway, we broke down, looks like we broke down the NBA, a lot of Duke talk, a lot of Duke players talked some Aaron Rodgers, threw you some science, gave you some shoe advice I guess, or our take on the shoes. Gave you some shows to watch if you haven't watched Inventing Anna or The Tender Swindler. They're pretty. They'll keep you entertained this afternoon on this rainy Sunday. They're a pretty unique setup. You can watch the Pam and Tommy thing if that's your thing. And then if you have not watched Righteous Gemstones, definitely get you a free trial to HBO Max. Pull it up. You can rip them off in one day. I mean, they're like 35-minute episodes. Lock it in, watch them today and tomorrow, and then cancel your free trial. We definitely won't get anything from HBO Max for saying something like that. But anyway, that's about it for us this week. Kurt, you got anything else?
Nah, man, appreciate everybody listening. Like we said, hit like, subscribe, and we will see y'all next week.